love that part. Hello and welcome. I am Lionmight. I'm a professional composer and music producer obsessed with video game music and nerd culture. And for this video, I'm gonna take you into a deep dive of the 3 Fontaine battle themes. We're not including boss battle themes because those will be for separate videos, but man oh man, I've been looking forward to filming this video for a while because I am both a Genshin Impact enjoyer and passionate about classical music and how it has influenced modern music of today. Oh man, there's so much to unpack with this 3 battle themes alone. There's, of course, romantic classical music, regular classical music, tango, flamenco, and oh man, I'm so excited to give you a newfound appreciation for these battle themes, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have found a new appreciation for classical music as well. So yeah, let's go. And as always with all my music reaction and analysis videos, there will be lots of talking over, probably some pausing and talking. So I highly suggest you listen to the songs individually on your own time, because this is not Spotify. This is a music analysis and reaction video, and talking is part of the content. So yeah, let's go. Starting with Rondeau de fleurs et de rapieres. So much goosebumps. Always. Always reminds me of Nutcracker Suite. My favorite part, of course. So much classical guitar. Oh my goodness. Change in mood. So grand now. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yes. So much Tchaikovsky character. So good. Oh wow. It's a melding of styles. Villalobos, Tchaikovsky, and even John Williams. Wow. Oh. Mozart. It's a lament by Mozart, Requiem. Nice call back to the theme. Nice breather, of course, of course. The piano. Modulation, let's go! Oh! Tremolos. So cinematic, this part. I have a confession to make. This is my first time listening to this piece on its own, and I always hear it, you know. That's the thing with video game music. When you're listening to it while playing the game, you can't avoid getting distracted by gameplay, story, sound effects, voice lines, and all that happening in Genshin Impact as I'm, you know, trying to get my rotations perfect. Even in the open world, I try to practice my rotations. And I have at least 3 C6 characters. So, you know, I don't even need to do that, but I still try. Anyway, before I'm going off on a Genshin tangent. But what I mean to say is, I've been reserving this moment for you, for the video. So I also want to be surprised a little bit. Because the thing is, and this is one of the main reasons why I make these music analysis and reaction videos, there's value to be had with listening to the game's music outside of the game, and you'll hear a lot of additional details that's not buried by sound effects. This is a great example of that. I've been hearing so many new details that I haven't had the time to appreciate while playing the game, especially those guitar lines and the transitions between the snare drums and all the sections. Let's dissect this at the moment. In general, this part right here, that is one of my favorite things about Genshin Impact battle themes. They give you this mellow build-up. Even in Liyue and Mondstadt, we hear that small to big kind of evolution of the sound. So this is how this music starts small. It stays on that pedal tone, a suspended note. Da-da-da. Yes, with a flute and some kind of zither or harpsichord. It doesn't matter what the instruments are. What matters is the effect and the emotion they give you. At the end of the day, instruments, synthesizers, computers, these are all tools to convey the feeling of music. So when somebody in the comments explains to me, oh, that's not actually a violin, that's a banjo played with a bow, I always roll my eyes because they miss the point. The tool used to express the art is not important. At the end of the day, those are just all tools. A paintbrush, doesn't matter if it's cheap or if it's expensive, the paintbrush is just a tool. The important is what the art makes you feel, the final result of the art as the artist intended it. So yeah, just a mini rant right there. But again, this is how the music starts small by staying in one mini tonal range. And then the strings with the trills starts to build up. Some rhythm coming in. Oh my goodness. This is so good. No matter how many times I hear this in the game, no matter how many times I hear it on repeat while trying to farm some materials for new characters using my C6 Farina. Mini flex right there. This is one of my favorite parts. There is a melody being done by classical nylon guitar. Dun, 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 dun. Long suspended notes. But then the rhythm is being driven by those staccato strings. So you have a slow melody, but a fast-paced supporting harmony. And oh my God, those pizzicato contrabasses, dum, bum, bum. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you don't usually hear these details when playing on a flat screen TV where the speakers are usually scuffed and doesn't play the whole range of sounds. This is one of the reasons why you should be listening to video game music on its own, on proper sound systems, on in-ear monitors or studio monitors, the best speakers you have, unless that's also connected to your TV, because my setup is not quite like that. All my best studio audio gear are in my studio setup, not in my gaming rig setup in the den. This part. Yeah, this part is always reminding me of Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. And even my daughter knows this because we are both classical music enjoyers and Hoyoverse games enjoyers. Oh my goodness. This is a Hoyoverse house. I play Genshin, I play Honkai Star Rail. My daughter plays Honkai Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, and Zenless Zone Zero. So this is a Hoyo house. We love Hoyo games in this house. So total bias here, and I'm not even going to deny it. But oh my goodness, you can't unhear this. You can't unhear this. The Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies section of the Nutcracker Suite. And it's not even using a celeste. It's using piano, harpsichord, and strings, but it conveys that same magical kind of fairy-like characteristic. Oh my goodness. I'm only realizing how much prominent the classical nylon guitar here is in this piece because it's more prominent in another battle theme, but oh my goodness. This is why you listen to video game music outside of the game. Tremolo. Woo. And the bowed strings are like... They keep the meter, they keep the rhythm driven. So cinematic. Oh. Oh my goodness. Let me just preface that this style is definitely inspired by the works of Tchaikovsky, as I've already mentioned, but it goes bigger than that. This style is actually called Romantic classical style. So let me give you a little backgrounder of the classical music subgenres. And yes, there are subgenres of classical music. Just like EDM or metal, we have dark metal, power metal, speed metal, math rock, and all that. Classical music also has all these subgenres. And for this subgenre, this is actually called romantic classical music. So there's standard classical music mostly represented by Beethoven. Standard classical music in the 1800s are more concerned about following a structured formula, usually called a sonata allegro form. And they are more concerned about following a rigid formal structure. So it doesn't matter what kind of melodies you use, but it's mostly sounding kind of cerebral, less emotional, but as long as they follow this rigid formulaic structure, Mozart, Beethoven, they follow that sonata allegro form, that's considered as classical music, the regular classical music. But then there are outliers who kind of say, you know what, screw the formula. We want to make the listener feel emotions. This is where romantic classical, not romantic like love, or maybe it is. Romantic classical music subgenre comes in. And one of the best representations of romantic classical music is Tchaikovsky. The Nutcracker Suite is his most representative work. Romantic classical music is more concerned with making you feel emotions, making you cry, making you laugh, making you feel anxious or nervous. The emotions are more important than the structure. So yes, maybe they kind of follow a little bit of the structure of traditional classical music, but that's not their priority. You know, there's a lot of classical music rebellious periods, which we will go further into as we listen to the two other battle themes. But let's continue breaking this down. Love that pedal tone. Bum bum ba-dum bum. Yeah, that is such a great characteristic of romantic classical music. So I would say John Williams is definitely following the mantra of romantic classical music, because romantic classical music, one of its most notable characteristics is going from 0 to 11 in terms of emotional range. For example, it's represented by a string section going from silent to swelling to big cinematic chords. That is not usually found in regular classical music. Of course, we have Beethoven's da-da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun. Those are kind of like exceptions to the rule, but most of the time, regular classical music, they like to stay in a certain one or two kinds of mood ranges, not going from 0 to 100. There are always exceptions, but that is the general rule. But in romantic classical music, oh man, they really want to surprise you. They want to shock you. They want to make you cry, and everything in between. So many range of emotions in that short time period. Oh my goodness. Emotions are personal and subjective, but on a musical discussion kind of situation, this feels so big and larger than life. Cinematic. And then suddenly tiny. Yeah, that's romantic classical music at its finest. That remind you of John Williams' works in Harry Potter or something? Yeah, those. Now we're here in kind of classical territory. This part is actually using a lament. If you listen closely to the bass lines, it's that is one of the characteristics of a lament. And I will be doing a full video about the lament form and how it has influenced video game music in a separate video. Let me know if you're excited for that, but it's happening regardless. Yeah, lament form. Oh! Yes, and we're back to the Nutcracker-like theme. Smashed! Do you hear that? Those French horns. Boom! Oh my goodness. Boom. Yeah. You don't hear those usually in classical music. They want to make you feel big and small at the same time. Yeah, I love this texture right here. Listen to the piano, listen to the strings, listen to the horns. It's 3 versus 4. So in music, we have types of meters or rhythms. We have rhythms in 4 or 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have rhythms in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But sometimes, just to make the texture interesting, composers would like to do both at the same time. So what's happening here is 2 and 3 or 4 and 3 happening at the same time. The piano is doing triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like the 4, 4 being divided into 3 counts. And the other instruments are still sticking to the 4 count. What happens is an interesting count of I would say, you know that trick when they try to make you pat your head and then rub your tummy? Kind of like that in terms of music. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's hard to count. Yeah, another characteristic of romantic classical music, you hear those trills. Yeah, in traditional classical music, that would be considered a blasphemy because it's too emotional, not too cerebral. You know, they all have their own issues at the time. This is so cinematic. And, you know, we are only at battle theme number 1. Let's go check out the next one. The next Fontaine battle theme is called Virelai de Marees. Again, the Genshin quality of starting small and then expanding later. Yeah, this is my favorite part. This is very Bella Bartok. Again, slow melody, fast-paced support. First time hearing this tick-tocking cloud. So emotional, so romantic. And it's string quartet, I believe, not a full orchestra. You can't help but dance to it. Textural, atmospheric, and very happy. Diminished. It's more like Debussy now. Pay attention to all the dissonances. Modulation. This sounds so cinematic with the horns. Sweeping emotions. Oh my goodness. I'm going crazy. All the key changes. Oh, wow. Key change after key change after key change. Very John Williams, this one. Flying. I'm flying. Like E.T. Oh, wow. So uplifting. Sequence! Oh, pedal tone suspension. What a change in mood. Back to the theme. Okay, I don't think I heard this part right here. Yeah, always, again, it always gets buried with sounds and sound effects and voice lines and Farina being cute and all that. This is my first time listening to this piece on its own outside of the game and hearing all the details. But always this part is my favorite. Let me start from the very beginning. Of course, again, starting small. There's a tubular bell and harp and tremolo on the strings. It's very tonal. Yeah, but this one is my favorite right here. This goes full on Bela Bartok string quartet. And Bela Bartok, let me talk about Bela Bartok. But first, let's listen to this part again. Huh? Listen to it carefully. Yeah, that part alone is what you would call neoclassical style. Or if you notice, it's bordering on harmonic and dissonant. You know, it's kind of like playing on the texture of the bowed string. It's more like conveying an atmosphere instead of harmonizing it or making you hum along to a melody. I mean, you can hum along to it if you want, but it's not as obvious as something like... Yeah, this screams, sing with me. It's so easy to sing along to that, but this part? This part right here is very much inspired by Bela Bartok. Bela Bartok is a composer known for his neoclassical style. So again, a little bit of classical music history. In any kind of art or in any kind of art industry, there's going to be rebels, you know, people who like to rebel against the norm. And for the longest time, the norm was Baroque music. And then in Beethoven and Mozart's time, the standard classical music era was the standard for a long time. But then there are people like Bartok and Igor Stravinsky who are like, no, we don't want to be tonal like everyone else in the past few centuries. We want to make our own kind of sound. Maybe we will take the structure of classical music, like I said, the sonata allegro form, or in layman's terms, sonata allegro form is just pretty much a sophisticated version of verse, chorus, verse. That is pretty much what the sonata allegro form is in general explanation. So the neoclassical composers like Bela Bartok and Stravinsky, they said, okay, we'll take that sonata allegro form structure, maybe break it up a bit, but we're going to inject our own kind of harmony. We're going to inject our own kind of sounds. Maybe it's going to be dissonant. Maybe it's not meant to be sung along to. Maybe it's more cerebral or rhythmic or visceral. But yeah, we're going to do our own thing is pretty much what they said. So this is pretty much a hark back or a reference to that kind of neoclassical thinking. Yeah, it sounds so much like any of the string quartets composed by Bela Bartok, and you're gonna hear this more textural, more visceral, more rhythmic kind of approach instead of melodic. And you know, that's what makes music in general, and for me, that's what makes classical music always an interesting subject, because there's so many aspects of it. People only know about Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and Vivaldi, and that's great. I love those pieces. But there's so much more to classical music than just those usual composers. And I have them all in my playlist. Not gonna lie, but you know, there's so much to explore about classical music, and I'm so glad that the Fontaine battle themes kind of give tribute to each of these styles in classical music. Yeah, it's so textural and rhythmic. and then complete contrast. This is very melodic. Na-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Again, like the first theme that we listened to, the slow melody with the underlying small rhythms moving underneath. Pizzicatos. Oh wow, I love that part. So good. Now, this part is definitely very romantic classical because the swelling of the strings, the wide and thick vibrato. Oh my goodness. You know, the vibrato, the thick, romantic, emotional vibrato on the violin, that's not usually a thing in classical music, in regular classical music. That's become more prominent in Tchaikovsky's romantic classical music because they want to make the violin evoke more emotions. So this thick vibrato right here. Yo. Yeah. That vibrato, that is very romantic classical. Oh, so good. Modulation. Yeah, music like this is pretty much what keeps me glued to Genshin Impact. And I mean, I enjoy the gameplay and I enjoy the characters and the design, but the music is really, oh my goodness, it is the glue that keeps me coming back to the game all the time. Yeah. See? Romantic classical music. On one hand, it makes you feel this hopeful atmosphere. You feel soothing. It feels like a soothing emotion. And then, boom, it brings you to another place. You're transported magically. Oh, they use the colenio technique. There's like a slap tack. It's slap in the violin world or in the bowed string world. A colenio is when you use the violin bow, the wooden part of the violin bow, and you slap the string near the bridge to make that slapping kind of texture. You're gonna hear that kind of sound in most of orchestrated action film scores. Always the colenio. It's just so visceral. It's so shocking, and it really contributes to the suspense or kind of action atmosphere. Damn. Bam. Go piano. Suspended notes. Oh, wow. Back to the theme. Yeah, this is what I love about these arrangements is these are long-winded melodies. But then, what makes it fast-paced and fitting for a battle theme is always the underlying rhythms below, mostly done by the pizzicato strings. Again, listen to it. The piano this time. did you see that? The reverse roll that they did? Now the lower notes are doing the melody, represented by the horns, and the ones moving are now the top notes, the strings. Yeah, that's a common trope in composition. You reverse the roles for a bit, kind of give it a fresh coat. Top melody, bottom melody. Now they're intertwining. So good. It's a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All those piano shredding. Modulation, modulation. That is so satisfying. This is, in EDM terms, this is like the build up to the drop. Chromatic modulation, every note, every key is going up and up. Boom. And then it stops to give you the drop, and the drop is represented by a piano cadenza or a piano solo. That's a fancy term for a solo passage for an instrument, cadenza. Up, 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 up. The drop. Piano solo. And back to mellow and soothing. Preparing you for the ending, which is grand and epic. From grand epic to small again. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's a great masterclass in contrasting moods, contrasting rhythms, contrasting textures, contrasting ranges. That is the second battle theme from Fontaine. Saving the best for last. This third battle theme, and the last that we're going to check out for this video, this is called Lamentation et Triomphe. And oh my goodness, this is my favorite out of all the three. I love them all, but this is the one that always makes it to my personal playlist. If you check out my gaming channel, Lionmight Gaming, I usually use this particular battle theme as the background music for my damage showcases. So shout out to my gaming channel. Links in the description. There's so much to unpack here, and I will tell you more about it after we take a guided tour. Let's go. Again, starting small and then going big. Ah, love that. Tango. Argentinian tango. Dun, 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 dun. Great classical music line. Classical guitar. This one. This one. Ah, so good. This is so much Spanish flamenco guitar right here. Cinematic flamenco? Anyone? La, da, 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 da. Ah! Bum, bum, bum. Dum, bum, 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 bum. Look at the bass. Ah, that modulation. And here we go, the breather. Castanets. all those flamenco and tango influences. Again, slow floating melody, but rhythmic underlying tones. This is, you know, this elevates it a little bit more modern because of the drum set. Ah, that violin solo is always going straight to my heart. Key change. Triplets again on the piano. Build up. Key change up. Contrast between big and small. Yes! Go trumpet solo. Oh. Now this sounds so modern orchestral rock. Sounds so Hollywood, that part. Wow, okay. So much to unpack, but oh wow. Yeah, so this style of music is very much inspired by the genre called Nuevo Tango. So Nuevo Tango is pretty much a modernized or stylized artistic version of the more traditional folkloric music called tango, which is originated from Argentina. But there's also elements of Spanish flamenco guitars, especially the rasgueado technique, the tremolo technique on classical guitar that's called rasgueado, and that's usually heard in also traditional flamenco music. But Nuevo Tango, mostly associated with the composer Astor Piazzolla. You definitely have to go check out Astor Piazzolla's musical works, especially the song called Oblivion and Libertango. So good. But you will hear the parallels with Astor Piazzolla, Nuevo Tango, and this particular music, Lamentation et Triomphe. The contrast between orchestra, classical guitar, and solo violin, the contrast between big, grand sounds, and then suddenly just two instruments, you know, intimate and huge. That is one of my favorite parts of this, the contrast between that. How they incorporate all those folkloric music into a big cinematic orchestral experience. What I also think is that one of the outstanding or standout characteristics of this particular piece is it's one of the rare orchestral composed music from Genshin Impact that actually incorporates a drum set, a modern drum set. The previous two songs uses percussion, but mostly orchestral percussion. This one actually uses a straight-on rock drum set to kind of even add to the gravitas. And let's do the guided tour now. Again, from the small to the big, I think common characteristic between the three pieces for Fontaine battle themes is the staccato strings are the carry of the rhythm. Yeah, they're carrying the rhythm pretty much. They're the farina of rhythmic movement. That arpeggio is so good. This rhythm right here, dun 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. That is a faster tango beat. There's many versions of the tango rhythm, but this is one of those dun, 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 dun. It can also be characterized as a danza or habanera, but they're all kind of related to each other depending on the region and the style. And I'm not exactly the expert when it comes to the dance aspect of the tango. Any one of you who is an expert, a real expert in tango dance, and not just a Wikipedia expert, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Yeah, that part right there is very much so similar to any of the works of Astor Piazzolla, especially Libertango. Definitely check out Libertango. And even the trumpets, the brash, it sounds like Spanish orchestral music. It's so... just so good. Yeah, this is one of my favorite aspects of this particular piece. Full orchestration, brass section, horns, and it's small. There's just two instruments. No, it's not even two instruments. It's just one single classical guitar. Yeah, you know, who else has really pretty much made that part of his very known style? The contrast between a huge ensemble and then a solo instrument or a duet instrument. Vivaldi. Four Seasons pretty much is that concept. The full ensemble and then the violin and the cello just doing a duet, or sometimes the harpsichord. But oh my goodness, yeah. The contrast between large and small, Mendelssohn's E minor concerto also kind of does that, you know, violin solo part, and then just the violin duet with the orchestra. I love that kind of contrast, it's what I'm saying. That piano doing textures. The pizzicatos. Let the world come alive. Oh, wow. She agrees. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The rasgueado part. Listen to that. The strumming is very much flamenco coded. Yeah, especially that part. Tan, 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 tan. Castanets. I'm always overwhelmed by this music. Fake ending, fake ending. Okay, so if you beat your enemy, if you beat the boss by this part, you could have accepted that as the ending of the music, but no, they actually compose full pieces in Genshin Impact. They don't half-ass it in terms of music. Take that as you will. Another great example of a slow melody being done by the piano and the guitar, but then there's the underlying rhythmic carry by the pizzicato strings. Yeah, that's one way of composing a very long-winded, romantical style of a melody. A long-winding melody, slow, but you want it to move rhythmically, so you use a cheat code. You maybe use a hi-hat or a pizzicato strings, something that does not overpower the main melody, but keeps it moving. This is one of the common techniques for orchestrators. Great improv. Slow melody, fast rhythm. And here comes the drum set, kick drum. Yeah. Different section. Yeah, the drummer is really going ham. The piccolo. La dum ba dum bum ba dum. Key change. Ah, wow. Guitar, piano, and violin trio. Strings coming in with a tremolo. Wow, so good. Yeah, very rock and roll. Very Hollywood, cinematic style. Hark back to the intro. Using the intro as the ending. Genius. The end. That is a very Hollywood kind of outro. Please, I highly recommend, if you're enjoying what you heard in this video, I highly suggest you listen to the 3 songs on your own, because I speak a lot here in this video, and you know, this is what a reaction and analysis video is. Yeah, this is probably the most obsessive I've been in a reaction video so far, because it's very different when I'm passionate about the game and the soundtrack. Most of the time, the other soundtracks that I've been reacting to are games I don't play and games I'm never interested to play, like Ultra Kill or Deltarune. I'm not really my genre in terms of games, but I will happily check out the music as suggested by you. And by the way, speaking of suggestions, please use the content suggestion form in my video description if you want me to check out any other music from other games or whatever source material there is. Use the suggestion form, and I will start to take more importance to the content suggestion form than suggestions in the comments. Feel free to use it. It's free to use. Hello? And if you're interested to check out my Genshin Impact adventures, like that one time where I finally activated my C6 Mawika and did some damage tests, haha, that was a fun time. Do check out my gaming channel, Lionmight Gaming. And by the way, if you're still watching until this part of the video, you are a total champ. Thank you so much for your company. Why don't you leave a water droplet emoji in the comments to show everyone that you did watch until this part of the video. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!